We've discussed many of the 2018 NHL Draft eligible prospects here on this channel, but we haven't gotten into goalies yet. Today, we're going to take a look at the top 5 goalie prospects available for this summer's draft. And that's coming up next. Welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned, if you've been following this channel for a while, you're probably fully aware that we've discussed a lot of the 2018 NHL Draft eligible prospects here in this channel. If you haven't caught any of our prior videos discussing a lot of the top prospects, there is a playlist available down in the description, and it will also be available here on the end screen of this video. So if you watch till the end, there'll be a nice list there for you to go through and to check out a series of videos that we've previously completed discussing many of the other prospects. But today, it's all about the goaltenders. Goalies are something we have not yet discussed when it comes to the 2018 draft eligible prospects. We have other goaltending videos where we've looked at goaltending prospects for the NHL, but they're all goaltenders that were previously drafted and belong to a specific NHL team. These guys are trying to get their name into the draft and get picked by the NHL club this summer. Now, a lot of these guys, there's 2 of them that I'm going to talk about are from the Czech Republic, and 3 of them are from Canada. Now, there are some other goalies that could very well have made this list. If I didn't want to go too far into the draft here when it comes to goalies, there's not many of these guys that are expected to go real high. The earliest we're probably going to see most of these guys, I'm going to predict, is probably mid to late second round would be the earliest, and a lot of them would be taken probably between the 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds. There are some other goaltenders to keep your eyes on, but in my opinion, these are the ones that I consider the top 5. So let's jump in and take a look at each prospect. At number 5, I'm ranking Kevin Mandolese from the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles out of the QMJHL. Mandolese is a big guy, 6'3 3/4 for height. He got into 37 games played this year, as a goals against average of .346 and an .884 save percentage. Now those stats may not sound overly fantastic, but in the Q, in the junior leagues, that actually isn't too shabby. They play in a very high scoring league, and based on his age and where he's at in his development, it's actually not too bad. Now Mandolese has a little bit of an edge on a lot of goalies in this draft. He's got a lot of experience, even though he's only draft eligible this year. He got into a lot of games when he was 16. He ended up playing 50 games that season for the Screaming Eagles, so he's got a fair bit of experience where a lot of goalies end up more in a backup role for the first few years of their junior career. He's had a little bit more of a playing time advantage over a lot of these goaltenders, and that's certainly going to come into play here. Now Mandolese, like I said, he's a big guy. He's fairly mobile for his size though. He's certainly one of the bigger goalies available amongst the top 5 that we're going to discuss today. But Cape Breton didn't have a fantastic season this year. They were expected to do better than what they were. Obviously one of their top draft picks, Drake Batherson, was a Senators draft choice, ended up getting traded away to the Armada in the Q. So they kind of didn't end up having as solid as a year as a lot of people thought they would. I fully suspected the Screaming Eagles to have a better performance this year, but certainly that played a role in some of his numbers as well. Based on his age and development, some of the other goalies here do have better statistics, but like I said, one of the advantages that he has is he's got a lot more games under his belt. Next up, we have Jakub Skarek of the Czech Republic. Now this guy's a butterfly goaltender. He seals the ice real well, covers the bottom of the net very well, he's very flexible. He's a fairly good sized goaltender as well, he's 6'3". He's had stats of .241 goals against average and a save percentage of .913 in 21 games played over in the Czech Republic this past season. So it's pretty solid numbers. So Skarek and Mandolese are the 2 of the bigger goaltenders out of the group here, out of the 5. The other 3 we're going to discuss are a little bit smaller, but Skarek is very athletic for his size. There's been a lot of great goaltenders come out of the Czech Republic as of late, and Skarek, along with the other guy we're going to discuss here and later in the video, is another great prodigy. The Czech Republic have been producing a lot of great goaltending prospects here over the last number of years, and he's yet another one. So I fully suspect he'll more than likely remain over in the Czech Republic after he's drafted for another couple of years before he comes over to play in North America. At number 3, we've got Alexis of the Halifax Mooseheads in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. As I mentioned, 3 of the goalies are out of the Canadian Junior Hockey Leagues, and all 3 of them are from the Quebec League, actually. He's a pretty good sized goaltender as well. He's 6'2.5". Goals against average of .304 with a .902 save percentage in 21 games played this past season. I had a chance to watch this goaltender play firsthand myself. I've seen a couple Moosehead games this year, and during the games I saw, they were victorious. He put in some pretty solid performances. So another Moosehead goalie. The Mooseheads have actually been producing a lot of great goalies in the last number of years as well. But Alexis Gravel, he's actually came from Ontario, played for the Missassauga Steelheads before he ended up in the QMJHL. That's actually an interesting story as to why he went from Ontario to Quebec as well. We're not going to get into that in this video, but there is going to be a link down in the description if you want to learn a little bit more about this goaltender to kind of explain his story. Even though he technically was playing in Ontario, how he ended up in the Q. So another story, but he's a really solid goalie. He's very quick. Very good reflexes, very flexible, sees the ice really well, pretty good on his skates and his edges, holds his post pretty well. He had a couple of good games, the games that I saw, and we'd rank him as the third best goalie prospect currently in this NHL draft. The number 2 goaltender rated in this draft is Olivier Rodrigue out of the Drummondville Voltigeurs of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. He's a very athletic butterfly-style goaltender, a little bit smaller than some of the other guys. He's 6 feet tall. I think he's 6 feet and a quarter. He's got a goals against average this past season of .274, an .896 save percentage over 34 games played. So he's gotten to a few more games than a couple of the other goalies as well. But Rodrigue is certainly a pretty solid goaltender as well. Rated number 2 here amongst the goalies. I would fully suspect that he'll probably would be one of the ones that would have a shot to go either in the late 2nd round or early 3rd round. But I think he's got a lot of potential, but certainly one of the concerns as much as anything really is his size. Even though in today's NHL you don't have to be real big like you used to be, size isn't as important, but when it comes to the goaltending position, you notice a lot of the NHL goaltenders are not on the smallish side. A lot of them are at least 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". There's not too many goaltenders under that height. And really a lot of the goalies that I personally have seen in out of the Quebec League especially, it seems like a lot of them are still quite small, but at the same time they're not fully done growing as well. But for Rodrigue, like I said, he's very athletic, he's very quick. All these guys are a little bit lanky too because they're quite thin. A lot of goalies, in order to be the flexible type body that they need to be a successful goalie, they do end up being quite lean and thin as well. So obviously they still have some development in the groove to do, not only as a player, but as a person as they fill out their frame. Now the top rated goalie I have for the 2018 NHL Draft as of right now is Lukas Dostal out of the Czech Republic. Dostal is about just shy of 6'1". He's 6 feet and 3/4. He's got into only 15 games this year, but he's got a .913 save percentage and a .257 goals against average. Size concerns a little bit over him as well, but I think he's just too solid as far as his quickness and his athleticism in the goalie position in order to overcome those size concerns. So Dostal is the top ranked goalie in this draft, although there's not a great deal of difference between him and Olivier Rodrigue. To be honest, a lot of the draft rankings that we've seen between NHL Central Scouting, Bob McKenzie, Craig Button, a lot of these guys who follow the draft eligible players quite closely, had them ranked pretty close. If you look at how they rank amongst the other skaters, there's a very little difference as far as how they rank. They're all ranked in usually anywhere from the high 60s to the low 70s. So I fully suspect Dostal and Rodrigue to be the top 2 goalies taken in the draft, and I wouldn't be completely surprised if there's a bit of a gap here between those 2 going either late 2nd, early 3rd round versus the other guys. Like we could see Gravel, Skarek, Mandolese maybe go more in the 4th and 5th rounds, but probably be more than likely my guess on that. There is a Russian goalie as well that's pretty high up and probably would be next in line on these draft rankings, but I know I'm not really sure. It seems like a lot of Russian goalies are taking a lot longer to come over. Now we've had the KHL in place now for a while. It seems like a lot of these goalies are hanging over in Russia a lot longer than they used to before they came over to the NHL. So that could make teams as well a little bit leery on using a higher pick to draft them, and maybe they'll take them with a late 6th, 7th round pick or something like that. If you're new to the channel, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and if you love NHL prospects, draft eligible prospects especially, we have quite a few videos here on this channel. If you've missed them, like I mentioned, there's going to be a playlist link down below in the description, as well as on the end screen of this video. We've covered a lot of prospects here, and we've done some draft simulations as well to see where the teams may finish and who they may select with some mock draft, which will probably do one more of those coming up here before too long. The actual draft lottery takes place later this month on the 28th, I believe it is, of April. So from that point forward, we'll know the exact draft rankings. Once we have that, we'll likely do another video doing a mock draft, anticipating who we think each team will actually select. If you haven't done so already, consider following us on social media. You're going to find our Twitter handle on the screen right here, so check us out on Twitter. And also, as I mentioned, we have a 1,000 subscriber giveaway coming up here soon. So if you're new, not only do we want to subscribe for great content, but we've got a great giveaway coming up here shortly when we hit the 1,000 subscriber milestone. So stay tuned for that. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.